I'm like, oh, shit. I even went in front of my security. I'm like, oh, shit, let me go tap it with Birdman real quick. We about to watch it. As soon as I walk down, I see Jim Jones. Now, I'm going to keep it a being with y'all. And again, I'm only speaking from my perspective. And y'all know, like, when I be telling these stories, I don't never be hyping nothing, right? Like, I think I'm pretty fair. I was walking quickly to get to Birdman, but right behind Birdman was Jim Jones. Jim Jones had brought his mom there. I didn't even realize he brought his mom. Like, Mama Jones, he brought his mom. So I'm walking mad quickly. But I ain't gonna lie to you, I think the way Jim seen it was like I'm walking up on him. I swear. Like, cause I'm walking mad quick. And so I see Birdman and I see Jim Jones. And I'm like, oh, Jim, what up? Now let me tell you the history with me and Jim. I don't know if it's history. I did an interview with Kanye West. Kanye West said he gave Jim Jones $2 million and he was mad that Jim Jones couldn't make him a PDF. Okay, that went viral. Jim was trying to get some buzz at the time. Jim, I don't know how, like, through an intermediary, hits me to say, yo, I want to do an interview responding to Ye. It never happened, but while I set it up, Jim says to me, yo, we should probably get on the phone because, I just want to make sure we good, right? That happens with mad artists, Chad. Like, sometimes an artist want to talk to you before getting on set with you because they don't know if you about to just ask them some federal shit or whatever. So that's valid with me talking. So that's the last thing I know about anything with me and Jim Jones.
Listen up, people. This one's got the whole internet buzzing. Word on the street is that Jim Jones tried to press DJ Akademiks at that YoungBoy concert, and the energy in the room shifted fast. You could feel the tension snap like a live wire. Everyone's talking, everyone's watching, and the story's spreading like wildfire. What went down that night wasn't just another backstage scuffle. It was a full-on moment that's got hip-hop Twitter losing its mind. Being a content creator sounds dope, right? But here's the catch. You talk so much every single day that you barely remember half of what you said. Like, imagine running into Lil TJ 3 years from now. I won't even remember what I said about him last week, but he will, because those words hit differently when they're about you. That's the danger of having your opinions live, forever online. DJ Akademiks talks for hours, nonstop, covering everybody in the game. And let's be real, not everyone takes it the same way. But here's the twist. This drama with Jim Jones, it's probably not even about what AK said about him. See, if Jim really got an issue, it's more likely tied to AK's connection with 6ix9ine. Because in the streets, it's not about who you are, it's about who you stand next to. Jim comes from that old school code where loyalty and history matter more than logic. Remember, his circle took massive hits when 6ix9ine flipped. His guys like Mel Matrix and Shotty got slammed with 10 to 15 years. They lost everything, while 6ix9ine walked free and moved on. So from Jim's point of view, if you're standing shoulder to shoulder with Tekashi, you're automatically part of that betrayal. That's the energy fueling this whole situation. That TOA street vet like Jim, being cool with 6ix9ine means you've picked a side, and that makes you fair game. Logic doesn't live there. Street politics have their own rules. And so Jim pulled up with what some are calling young energy. But let's be honest, what's really cool about acting like a hot-headed rookie at nearly 50 years old? So AK sees him and goes, "Jim, what up?" And Jim fires back with a different kind of what up. The kind that carries weight. AK says he walked up quick, maybe too quick, just trying to reach Birdman, but that vibe shifted fast. Suddenly, the tension's thick. Now, credit where it's due. Jim was the oldest one in the building, but he was definitely on young boy time. Dude's 49, but he came in like he had something to prove. AK even said it himself. Maybe it's just the environment. Everyone running off that young boy energy. So he tries to keep it professional, like, "Yo, Jim, we gotta get up, do this interview." But Jim wasn't on that wave. He flips the switch. He's like, "Yo, let me holler at you real quick." And then the vibe changes again. Now it's more serious, more confrontational. AK says Jim's like, "Yo, do y'all think what y'all do online is cool?" And AK's standing there, confused, trying to figure out what this is even about. Then Jim drops the name, 6ix9ine. That's when it clicks. He's not mad about what AK said. He's mad about who AK stands with. Jim starts talking about things not being safe when people play with him. And it's like, bro, where is this coming from? It's not respect talking. It's frustration boiling over. And that's really what this looks like, desperation. Because what's a street vet supposed to do when the battlefield has moved online? Jim can't outblog 6ix9ine. He can't outmeme him. He can't control that digital smoke. 6ix9ine might be a joke in the streets, but online, he's a master manipulator. He moves algorithms, not blocks. Every time Jim opens his phone, he sees another headline saying 6ix9ine exposes Jim Jones. That eats at him. Not because 699 is dangerous in real life, but because he's dangerous digitally. And AK? He's just caught in the middle. Jim's been beefing with Whack 100 for years, and AK's tight with Whack. So now he's catching strays from both sides. It's not even personal beef. It's misplaced frustration. Because when you can't touch the real ops, the ones who keep poking you online, you start swinging at whoever's standing closest. But here's the kicker. Jim was cool before. He even hit AK up trying to line up an interview. So if there was all this smoke from the jump, why the sudden hostility? That switch-up looks more like a performance than a principle. AT first. Jim actually handled it right. Pulled AK aside for a man-to-man convo. That's grown man behavior. But somewhere between the calm and the chaos, it flipped. Suddenly, he's spazzing like a teenager. Bro's 49, almost 50, and acting like it's his first fight behind a bodega. That's not power. That's insecurity on full display. Meanwhile, AK stayed chill, even tried to talk it out. Bro, we good? I'm not here for drama. But Jim kept pressing to AK's like, what do me and 6ix9ine have to do with your issue? And he's right. How are you mad at one dude but confronting another? It's like yelling at your neighbor because you can't reach the guy who keyed your car. Jim's anger feels misdirected, like he's fighting ghosts. And honestly, the way he was moving backstage looked wild. Everybody else is vibing, laughing, having a good time. And Jim's pacing like he's about to go to war. At that point, it didn't look like street energy anymore. It looked like someone trying too hard to prove he still got it. That's not OG behavior. That's ego spiraling. AK didn't come to fight. He came to work. But Jim turned a regular night into a whole movie, starring himself as the main character nobody asked for. That's insecurity showing loud, especially for a dude with a status. Instead of chilling, enjoying the show, or locking in that interview with AK, Jim created tension out of thin air. And that's not a good look for a veteran in the game. Think about the optics. Jim Jones, walking into a young boy show, surrounded by one of the youngest, wildest crowds in rap. Instead of keeping it cool, he's snapping at DJ Akademiks like it's life or death. To the new generation, that doesn't read as tough. It reads as pressed. Like he's trying to prove something to a room full of people who already moved on from that kind of energy. Meanwhile, Akademiks walked out untouched. No yelling, no hostility, just calm composure. And that contrast made Jim look even worse. Because when you're almost 50, standing in a crowd of rising stars yelling about problems nobody else even sees, it doesn't make you look powerful. It makes you look out of place. The internet wasted no time clowning the footage, calling Jim paranoid, desperate, and stuck in an era that doesn't exist anymore. At the end of the day, this wasn't about winning a fight. It was about image. And in that moment, Jim Jones looked like he lost control of his own. He wanted respect. But what he got instead were whispers that maybe the pressure's finally catching up. People say Jim was just on his young energy, maybe having a bad night. But others close to the scene claim that's just how Jim moves. Always tight, always angry. The thing is, 699's been talking reckless about him for years. Both of them come from that 9 Trey Blood background. So anytime 6ix9ine drops a name, AK posts it. That's his job. When 6ix9ine talks about Jim, it trends. When Jim responds, it trends again. And maybe that's what really lit the fuse. Another viral clip pushing old street wounds back into the spotlight. When those clips hit the internet, the reaction was brutal. Fans didn't hold back. People said Jim looked less like a boss and more like a man shadowboxing his own frustration. Some even joked that he wasn't fighting Akademiks. He was fighting paranoia. And that's the worst image for someone who built their name on control. Because in the streets, perception is everything. The moment people think you've lost your composure, your power starts to crack. Twitter went wild, memes flying. Fans call him an old head stuck in 2009, while others praise AK for staying calm and composed. Imagine that. The media guy walking away looking tougher than the rapper. That's not just irony. That's a full image reversal. And this isn't even the first time the internet's put pressure on Jimmy. Every time 6ix9ine drags his name, it trends. Every time Whack 100 throws shade, it blows up again. And instead of letting it slide, Jim takes the bait every single time. That's what makes this whole thing sad. He's playing right into the hands of the people he claims to hate. That's why this moment backstage feels way bigger than a heated exchange. It's about how the world sees Jim Jones today. To a lot of fans, he started to look less like that untouchable Harlem legend and more like a man rattled by the same game he once ruled backstage. The vibe was pure love. OG3 walked up on Vlad, gave him a long hug, like 30 seconds of nothing but respect. Everyone was celebrating, laughing, showing love. Young boys free, finally moving again, and that night was supposed to be a moment. But instead of joining the celebration, Jim came through with the wrong energy, and it looked embarrassing. Nothing gangster about it. Nothing impressive. Just corny. The truth is, Jim's got real enemies out there. Real situations tied to the street life. If he wanted to press somebody, there's a long list of people that would make sense. But Akademiks? Over something 6ix9ine said when AK wasn't even there? That's not power. That's misplaced anger. It makes him look pressed over the wrong person in the wrong place. At the wrong time. So here's where I leave it to you. What do y'all think? Did Akademiks actually say something behind the scenes that pushed Jim over the edge? Or was this just Jimmy lashing out under pressure? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe to Drip Zen. Share this video and keep the conversation alive. Because the culture never sleeps and neither do we.